Hey man, good to back again. Once again, let's lock in. Shout out to the IPA. So me and the wife have been having this very healthy debate about divorce in the Philippines, right? There's a whole bunch of people that are up in arms about the idea of divorce being allowed in the Philippines. Oh my God, it's gonna break down the family, it's gonna separate the families, everybody's supposed to suffer in order to make their way through heaven and all of this stuff. So you're supposed to stay in very toxic relationships and all this shit. You just hear it all over the board. A lot of women are for it, a lot of guys are against it. Let's just call it for what it is, right? But there's a lot of things that you guys are failing to take into consideration. And the good doc's about to drop some gems tonight, because this is something that when it comes to divorce in the Philippines, there are so many different layers and so many different ways you can structure it. And I believe that if they're smart, they're going to structure it this way in order to make sure that both sides win. All right, so let's start from the beginning, right? The Senate has already passed the idea of divorce, or the proclamation for divorce in the Philippines, and I think it's the House of Representatives. Maybe it started in the House, going to Senate, whatever it is, right? So they're at the next stage, and there are a lot of people who I said are up in arms about it, more so your religious types of people that are just saying no to divorce. Divorce is going to ruin the family. It's going to ruin the structure and the status quo of the Philippines, and it's just going to make it very, very easy for people to leave relationships. Now, there were a multitude of different scenarios that me and the wife discussed, but the three that we talked about were, yes, divorce should be okay for a young lady that's in an abusive relationship. Okay, let's call it for what it is, man. I don't want no girl standing there and get their ass beat, right? That's just not okay, right? It's not okay, bro. So in that regard, I'm cool with it, right? Like, I do believe you should give that young lady the right to get out of that, right? But there's also that second stage, that sweet spot, what I would call the gray area. I said three, we're going to keep it at two. But there's that gray area, right? Everybody's like, all the people who are going to get divorced are simply getting divorced for no reason and no reason at all. And the second one is like that gray area that I've seen a lot happen in the Philippines. So you have a lot of people that are marrying for convenience, right? You got a lot of people that are getting married for the convenience. More so, a young lady getting married to a guy to help save the family, right? You see that more so in the rich Chinese community, where the rich families marry the rich families, keep them together. It helps create the business partnership, through marriage and all types of stuff like that. But also, if somebody's going through a financial situation, the marriage of the family, or the bringing together of the family, kind of creates that partnership wherein both sides would hopefully eventually win. But let's talk about it from the lower tier area, talking about your everyday average Filipino. Let's say, for example, that a Filipina married a guy, doesn't even have to be a foreigner, but married a Filipino guy to help the family. For whatever reason you married that guy, you did it to help the family. Let's say that man provided and did every single thing that he was supposed to do as a man. But then divorce becomes legal, and because you really didn't want to marry that guy in the beginning, now all of a sudden, because divorce is available, guess what? I'm just going to run down to the courthouse and say, hey, I don't want to marry this guy. After he did everything, he was a good guy to you, but because you didn't want to marry him, you kind of felt forced to marry him in order to help save the family. In whatever way you help save the family, you just didn't want to be with him. So now you just want to divorce him because you didn't want to be with him in the first place, even though that guy did everything humanly possible to make sure that he fulfilled his duties and responsibilities as a man. That's the one time that I'm very, very... I'm pissed off. I would never want to see a guy lose his wife because you did everything you were supposed to, but because she didn't want to be with you in the first place, now she get to leave, right? That's that one gray area where I'm kind of skittish about the idea of divorce in the Philippines. But despite all the reasons behind why I personally may or may not be for divorce in the Philippines, there's one thing that you're failing to realize. And this is where, if Philippine government is smart, I'm going to give you the playbook, right? I'm going to tell you the playbook of how they should play it, and I pray they play it this way. And if they do, I want you to cite this video as the way it needs to be played, right? So you have so many people that are against the idea of divorce. First things first, just because divorce is going to be available in the Philippines, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to participate in getting a divorce in the Philippines. That's where shit is so weird. Like, me and the wife were having this conversation. We're like, yo, just because it's an option, it doesn't mean that you have to get a fucking divorce. Like, oh, well, yeah, well, divorce is now available in the Philippines, so I guess we might as well go ahead and get a divorce. That's like, crazy to believe that just because it's now becoming available as an option, you have so many people out there like, well, because it's there now, I guess we have to get a divorce. And you see that type of sentiment, like that type of energy wherein people are saying, I don't want it because I'm afraid we're going to just get divorced anyways. And I'm like, if your marriage is cool and your marriage is all right, why would you get the divorce, right? Just because it's available, just because it's there? Crazy, right? But despite all that, let's get to the nitty-gritty of it all, and let's go ahead and break down how the Philippine government should basically play this whole divorce thing, right? And I'm going to reference the annulment process, right? I don't know the exact numbers for annulment. I just don't. I don't. Okay? But let's just say, for the sake of this video, it costs roughly about 10,000 USD. So about, on average, if we do 50 to 1, 500,000 pesos in order for you to successfully annul your relationship, go through all the processes, the years of going back and forth, doing everything that you need to do to make sure annulment of your relationship is basically null and void, right? Same rules apply. If you're going to give the people divorce, give them the divorce, but make sure that the price of divorce is damn near the same, right? Make sure the price of divorce is roughly about the same as it would be for an annulment. Now, let's be honest. Divorce is technically a faster process, right? It's a faster procedure. You don't have to go through all the hoops and stuff that possibly an annulment would be. But you get to do it a little bit quicker, right? But the price is still the same. Even if you lessen the price just a little bit, at the same time, what you're going to do is give the people the opportunity to have divorce available to them, but there's going to always be that high percentage chance that the greater majority of the people are not going to be able to participate in divorce because it's still going to be unaffordable for your everyday average Filipino, everyday average Philippine couple. You give them the divorce option, but keep the prices the same. High percentage chance divorce is still going to be relatively low because there's nobody to be able to actually afford to get the divorce. Give them the options, satisfy the people, but keep the prices the same, right? Give them the option, keep the prices the same. That way, everybody wins. All the young ladies that wanted the divorce to happen, you give it to them. My bad, I'm hitting mics and shit. You give it to them. But at the same time, you say, hey, if you want a divorce, this is what you have to do. These are the criteria. This is the requirement, and this is the price. They see the price, chances are it's going to probably deter a lot of people from wanting to get the divorce in the first place. Again, that's how I would play it if I wanted to make sure everybody wins, right? Because if you think about it, if I give you divorce and it's happy and everybody's like, yay, oh my God, yay for the Philippines, progress for the Philippines. Yes, divorce is now available. But you keep the prices roughly about the same as an annulment. Now all you did was give them the option that they wanted. And I still believe that you're relatively going to keep the divorce rate low. Even though divorce has never happened in the Philippines, you're still going to keep that rate relatively low. Wife, do you have anything you want to add? She in the corner. Like, we was really talking about this. Do you want to come say hi to the people so that everybody knows you're still alive?
No.
She's good. Okay. Anyway, but back to what I was saying. So I was really interrupted. Everybody wins, right? This is how everybody wins with divorce. You give all the young ladies and some of the guys that wanted that as an option, you giving them the option, but make sure that the price range is still relatively up there. Now, you're going to have to bring it down a little bit more than how much it would cost for an annulment, just to make sure you're being fair. But at the same time, if the prices are high, I still believe the divorce rates will remain relatively low. Now, there's going to be some people that are going to be able to afford it. Your artists or people who have money or people who come from money, they're going to be able to get the divorce, right? But that's not going to be the greater majority of the people of the country. Make sense? Give them what they want. Keep the prices the same. It's still a win-win because I still believe the divorce rates are relatively going to remain low. All right? Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe the good doc doesn't know a damn thing about what he's talking about because I don't see divorce in my near future, prayerfully. You know what I'm saying? Me and the wife were actually not too bad off, right? I know everybody likes to believe, Doc, your wife's going to leave you tomorrow. She could. It's okay. People act like there aren't contingencies. But anyway, just fucking around with you. I love you guys. I truly do. But at the same time, how do you guys feel about divorce in the Philippines? Do you believe they should allow it? Do you believe that they should say, no, y'all just going to have to stick it out? Y'all gonna have to suffer because this is what God wants you to do. God wants you to suffer so that when you make it to heaven, you've gone through all the trials and tribulations of life like Jesus did when he was getting whipped and all types of shit and being nailed to the cross and all this stuff. Pardon me for cussing in my profane language, but they want you to suffer. If you feel like the suffering is what's gonna lead you to the upper room, in the near future, well, not your near future, prayerfully, but down the line, okay. But if you feel like, you know what, these people need divorce, right? Divorce is going to help create a healthier environment, healthier atmosphere in the Philippines, and everybody's going to win, right? Love wins, right? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time, man, for the energy. It's been a good time, man. Y'all take care. Y'all stay blessed, man. Doc on to the next one. Peace.